What's up, everybody? Jason from Jason's Exotic Reptiles. I'm going to do part 2 of 2 on the how to get the stuck shed off your snake video. So yesterday I did a video with this exact snake. This is that leopard boa, the male leopard boa that I was pulling a really bad stuck shed off of. And I wanted to elaborate a little bit more, and I also wanted to show you the snake once I got all the shed off. So that was, I think, kind of what prompted me to do this second part of the video. I was initially going to end it there, but I didn't actually show you the snake without all the shed. Let's take a look at him right now. It looks much better. I think if you guys watched the other video, I'm sure you can see a huge difference, huge improvement. In the process of that video, I made a couple comments that I didn't necessarily want to leave close-ended like that. One of them being the stuck eye caps, and I mentioned I would typically just wait for the next shed cycle, and they usually shed off. That isn't always the case, and that was actually the case of this snake, in that once I turned the video off and I started getting a little bit more into peeling the shed off this snake, that's actually exactly what I did with this snake here. So in some places of the snake, he did have 2 layers of shed on him. And that's why I did want to expand a little bit on this video and a little bit on that video of how to deal with the multiple layers of stuck shed. So again, it's the same process. It just takes a little bit longer, but it was mainly related to where I recommended just wait for the next shed cycle. Trying to close that question was, what if that doesn't work? So it is the same approach, but you do have to be a lot more careful because that second layer of shed may be really stuck on them, and it may take a little bit more work, specifically when it comes into the eyes and the eye caps. So what I will do is I will let that snake soak for a longer period of time. And I should have done that on this snake, but I wasn't paying attention. I was traveling for work, and the snake went into the shed cycle before I could actually get on top of it. So I let the snake soak again. I did get it all off at the end of the video. I turned that video off, and I went immediately into continuing to remove the shed. It took maybe another 20 minutes or so, and I didn't want to do this follow-up video right then because the snake at that point was really stressed out. Had about an hour to 2 hours soaking in a bin of water, and then another half hour or so of me poking and pulling on all different portions of it, including its face and eyes, which is a very stressful thing for a snake to have happen. So at the end of that video, this snake was pretty much done. I could feel it. It had wasn't moving around like this anymore. It was kind of just defeated at that point. Took everything it had to withstand me pulling the shed off of it, but you have to do it. It's much better and healthier for the snake, and eventually it'll just keep getting worse and worse. So again, we'll take a close look at this snake. I love leopard boas. They're one of my favorite morphs out there. I actually think they're really cool just as their own. So I don't know if I'm even going to start mixing in hypo and things like that. I personally don't like hypo leopards and other morphs. I like the leopard as itself. But maybe an Annery leopard, those are pretty cool. So where I was going with that is, again, the stuck eye caps. If you look at the snake's eyes, let's see if I can get the camera to focus in on this. But if you look at the snake's eyes, they're really sensitive. And the eye cap actually goes in and around the whole eyelid. So it's almost kind of like sunken in. It's if you could imagine our eyes, but if you would envision if we shed our face, I guess, the shed would actually go underneath our eyelids and then over our eyes, underneath the other eyelid, then over again. So you have to be very gentle and move extremely slowly when pulling that skin off. It has to be ready to come off, or you're going to leave 2 stuck eye sheds. And then getting off again is going to be really difficult. So you really have to make sure the snake's eye caps and everything are very saturated, and the skin is saturated. And I would just slowly use my thumb. I'll see if I can do it on this snake, but slowly use my thumb. You can see it doesn't like that, but use my thumb to over the eye. I'm not putting it over the eye because I don't want to stress it out anymore. But I would use my thumb over the eye and just apply gentle pressure to try to get it moving. And if it doesn't come off that way, it's not ready. Let it continue soaking. Let it sit in there a little bit longer, maybe overnight. And what I want you to pay attention to, the difference between wet and humid. I mentioned that yesterday. But if you notice the bin that I used in the video, when I first held it up to the camera, there was water, and then there was this kind of mist or humidity all around the extra portion of it that wasn't submerged in water. That's humidity. That's what you need to get the stuck eye sheds off, and that's what's often difficult many times in racks like what I have behind me here. Not so much in these guys because these have a closed lid, but some of these older Freedom Breeder racks, they just have a screen top, and it's essentially a plastic bin with a screen top on top of it. So humidity just goes right out into the air, which is why it's very important for me to keep my overall room humidity up high and not rely so much on the cages. These racks here are fantastic for that reason, because I can get the humidity to stay, and I can control how much airflow comes in just by varying how many air holes I put into the bins. I don't have the luxury of doing that on the older style Freedom Breeders. The newer style Freedom Breeders I do. And that's something I'm going to get into next, is kind of my rack preference, what I look for in racks, what is important to me, things that have worked, things that haven't. And that'll be another video topic that I hope will transition well into this stuck shed video. And one final video I'm going to do is kind of a rack versus cages, because I think there's a lot of different options. And why I'm even speaking about it in this video is because humidity, temperatures, all that stuff relates so much directly to actual snake sheds and their overall health. So again, transitioning yesterday into yesterday's video, using indicators like the stuck sheds, the way the snake's skin tone is, whether they're eating, whether they're not, where they're sitting in the cage, are they sitting in the hot end or the cool end? These are all things that you have to pay attention to. It's a little bit more difficult to do if you only have one snake, but if you have multiple snakes, even 2, 3, 4, 5 snakes, you can just compare the two, and it really gives you a nice indication of what's happening in your overall collection. Are multiple snakes having trouble with shedding? Is it just one? Is it just where the cage is? I mean, heat rises, so your top cage, if you have them stacked, or if you have one cage higher and one cage lower, that can be an indication of I need to tweak things just a little bit. So it just goes back to everything I've been saying from the start, is we need to use our eyes and understand what's happening with these actual snakes, what their requirements are, and then understand what the repercussions are of not meeting them, so that we can understand what we see when we see it and fix things. So I rambled on a lot, way off topic on this second part of the video, but hopefully this is helpful. Again, keep leaving me comments and subscriptions and all that fun stuff. You guys keep me going. I really enjoy the comments. I did enjoy some of the clickbait comments. I did for the first time, well, at least what I think a first time, a clickbait title of "I'm getting out of reptiles" on yesterday's video. And some of you guys, I like the comments on those. Sorry you didn't appreciate my clickbait title, but I wanted to see what happened. So thanks, guys. I'll keep posting these videos. I'm going to do that rack video, rack versus cage, and all that other stuff. And please keep giving me some video topics, because I like hearing what you guys want to hear. I'm doing this channel for you guys. I'm doing this channel so I can answer your questions. And I'm sorry it's not like as entertaining as some of the other channels that you may see out there. It's more educational, but that's what I'm focused on. So I appreciate you guys watching and following again. Thank you.